Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk Talk here on Black Hole Radio and my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I am your host and guide, Jojapa Maria Ensaroma. And October is our final Earth month for 2020 as we continue to navigate through the final quarter of this mind-blowing, life-changing, historic year. In the Southern Hemisphere, it is time for planting seeds, and in the Northern Hemisphere, it is a time for the harvest. As you have sown, so shall you reap. So this month, we focus our attention on remembering this cosmic truth and consciously choose love over fear. Through 4 live broadcasts and accompanying videos, I'm going to provide you with wisdom and insights on how to show up and be the light. Beginning with reminder number 1, you are a spiritual being. But first, just a reminder that when I'm broadcasting live, you can listen to me over the phone instead of over your computer at this number, which is 563-999-3089. Now, I will upload a video of this broadcast on Tuesday to my YouTube channel. Again, that's Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. And you can ask questions or leave comments on my Facebook page, which is Wisdom Walk Radio, or my website, which is www.wisdomwalktoselfmastery.com, or in the comments section below this YouTube video. But right now, I invite you to sit or lay back and join me for an exploration of the inner landscape where we can connect to the soul and discover the true treasure of being human. Wow, folks, we made it to October. We still have a bit of a ways to go before we get to the end of the year. The intensity is still around, but again, the more conscious we can be about what is really going on, why it's going on, we can continue to successfully navigate through it. But as always, I want to start my show opening up by honoring the ancestors. And tonight I need to make mention of a new ancestor, a man who was one of the ritual makers that I've worked with for a number of years out of Madison, Wisconsin. And his name was Carl Landsness. And Carl was considered a municipal philosopher for his city government because he would come to the city public meetings wearing his giraffe ears, talking about, when I put these ears on, I can hear people's hearts and souls. And so he was this incredible moderator, always looking for the middle ground, very much a water brother, a peacemaker. And so my heart is truly broken along with all the people who knew him. And next week I will take time to really do a more thorough memorial to this incredible human being who has now become one of our ancestors. So join me, if you will, of thinking about those persons you may have lost as a result of COVID or cancer or whatever has gone on this year in terms of creating more ancestors. And let's say their names aloud, like I spoke Carl's name, and others, and let's let them know we need their help. So join me as I invoke the ancestors. Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you for your blessing and mercy in our lives, and for yet another opportunity to call out to your great emissaries, the ancestors. Ancestors, 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 especially those of you who are new ancestors of 2020. We are calling out to you, reaching out to you, because we truly need your help, your wisdom, your guidance, your love, as we continue to open up to learn how to navigate through this most disruptive, trying, frustrating, and life-changing time. Give us insights, point us in good directions. Help us remember that we have a choice between love or fear as we go through this. And through your gentle, loving presence, let us know that we are so much more than what we can even know, and that should give us great comfort on this journey we call life. And so, Creator, once again, I thank you. I thank you for the blessing of the ancestors, and I ask for their guidance in the name of all that is holy. And I say, Amen, Ashe Ahoasa, Shinga Bismillah, and so it is. Ashe. So, October continues to be another month of great intensity in regards to the energetics of this great change and transformation we're going through. And so I'm going to share with you the elemental wisdom and get into this astrological insight that is pretty potent. And all of this is designed to help you from falling into a victim mindset in regards to the change that is happening, because that is very, very easy to do. And it's really a challenging time for people who are already struggling with issues around self-worth, depression, other forms of mental illness. It's just really, really challenging. But the more conscious we can be about why it's happening, how it's happening, then I believe the more we can actually take this lemon and turn it into lemonade. Yeah. So this week we are finishing up an Earth Week, which we're currently in. It started on the last day of September, the 30th, and goes until the 6th, which will be Tuesday. And so on the 7th of this week, we move out of Earth and into a Fire Week. Yes. Here's the opportunity. It's about embracing and practicing forgiveness. Very important with all the intensity and flares up and tempers going and craziness. Yeah. This is about invoking those ancestors to help you forgo being a martyr to past pain as you invite the grace of forgiveness to embrace you and remove what was never yours to keep. Ask and thank your God for enabling you to receive this grace of forgiveness for those who have hurt you or for those you have hurt consciously or unconsciously. Prepare an ancestor plate at every meal, light a candle, and feed them with your intention to honor their existence and to receive their guidance, wisdom, and love, as we were just invoking. They want you to win. The ancestors want you to win, and they're committed to you not repeating their sorrows. You are their dream come true, and they want you to live your happy endings in life. Now, as always, with every opportunity, there's going to be some distractions. So here's what you want to look out for so you don't waste your time doing these things. They're not going to support you in this forgiveness opportunity. And the first one is wanting to be right about being a victim. And you know what I mean, because it's very easy to do that. Very easy to keep trying to come up with excuses for why I can't go and forgive this person. Let that go. Next, thinking you have to figure things out on your own. Yeah, meaning that when it is overwhelming and you can't imagine, like, how do I deal with this person? What do I need to say and do? That's when it's time to get on your knees. For me, it would be laying out flat on the floor and saying, God, help me. Somebody help me, because I can't figure this out. Yeah, ask for the help and it will come. Next, judgment and criticism of yourself or others. Not a good use of your time to get to forgiveness. And last but not least, taking on the problems of others, which is a lot of what happens when there's somebody to be forgiven, or even you, because it's all about pain being transferred. So when we can stay awake to that, then I think we can have a compassion and realize, oh, okay, I don't have to take this pain on. I need to let it go, and let me do that in a sacred manner. Now, next Wednesday, the 14th, we will begin a mineral week, a time to remember your purpose. And I'll remind you all about that in the next broadcast and video. Now, a reminder that October the 22nd will be Earth Day for the month of October. And I hope you have been continuing to cut down on your use of paper and plastic and staying mindful about your use of your fossil fuel powered car and committing to essential use only. And also opening up to, even small ways that you can really make a contribution to how we take care of this beautiful planet of ours and how we keep it from being unusable by the 7th generation that comes after us. Here's a website for the Earth Day organization, and you see me flashing it on the screen. It's www.earthday.org. Go to the section Today's Action, and you will get more ideas, more opportunities for how you can consciously know that you are doing the right thing to save this planet. Ashe. Now, the astrological stuff. It's a lot, so I'm trying to break it down so that it is manageable. So overall, here's the 3 overalls you need to know. Number 1 is that Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, that conjunction, which started on January the 12th and continues until December, really has come to help us let go of the things that can no longer serve us. And of course, we've been seeing that in a myriad of ways. And the COVID virus also has brought our attention to how we need to really look and think about things very differently. All of this, according to one astrologer that I like, Astro Butterfly, and I agree with her, is to help us become resilient. She says that the purpose of Saturn and Pluto's conjunction is to test us, because when you develop resilience, you're more likely to withstand possible difficulties in the future. Saturn and Pluto help us not only survive, but to thrive in a crisis. Okay? The next big thing overall that you need to know is that last week, from September 27th through October the 3rd, that was just yesterday, we were in a big growth spurt. And according to this astrologer, she considered last week to be an explosion of changes, but again, designed to help us grow. So, fortification and growth, those are the 2 things that are going on. And thirdly, I want to let you know that during this month of October, we are again reminded, like we were in March of this year, to be flexible, to adapt, and to be in conscious gratitude, so that we don't fall victim to the intensity of the disruptive energies of this 2020 transit. Okay? So, having said all that, I've got 2 dates and kind of a third one that goes over a couple of days of some astrological aspects that I think you need to be mindful of. The first one already happened, and that was on October 1st when we had that full moon in Aries. And it was a time when emotions were running high and hotter because the full moon was in this cardinal fire sign, right? So you might have found yourself quicker to react. You may have been losing your patience. You may have seen tempers flaring. Yeah. And, when those kinds of things are going on, they're definitely happening for a reason. It is pushing stuff up. But our job is to say, I really need to resolve this. I need to get this resolved. I need to find a way to not lose my patience. Yeah. So now here we are on October 4th. And what's happening right now today really happened at sunrise. But Pluto went direct in the sign of Capricorn. Here's the significance of that. It's been retrograde since April the 25th. Right after kind of, we got a big month when COVID came on the scene. And so by April, we were kind of like, oh, wow, this is really some serious stuff here. We need to, we got to stay locked down, So we were more in that accepting role because Pluto's job is to help expose the shadow components of what is going on as it relates to the sign that he's in. And so he's in a sign of Capricorn, and that's all about institutions and structures and, traditions and, all of that stuff. And as we know, many things are being broken up as a result of COVID, and also because of the death of George Floyd that got recorded and the global response to that. So, because Pluto is going direct, whenever a slow-moving planet, which Pluto is, changes its direction, the energy is even stronger than otherwise. So, during this time, the astrologers say we may be seeing forces of destruction and collapse continue in many aspects of the world around us. Bearing witness to these immense changes will have profound psychological impacts on all of us. These changes, however, are to some extent necessary as we are witnessing a Plutonian process of breaking down old, decayed structures so that these can compost the soil of renewal. So again, it's this death and rebirth cycle, which also is what Pluto represents. Now, we ain't done with Pluto, because from October the 7th through the 9th, Mars and Pluto are squaring off. And Mars right now is retrograde. Pluto is going to be direct. And what that basically means that you're going to find yourself in an area that you really care about at odds with the universe. So in other words, you want things to be a certain way, to go a certain way, but the universe has been telling you, sorry, that ain't happening. Okay? Now, you could decide, let me just push through, let me turn a no into a yes, but I highly suggest and recommend that you accept the no so that you can eventually get to the right yes. See, a square is an intense aspect, and it requires resolution, and patience is the answer. To resist is futile. Also, while this is happening, we're going to have Mercury opposite Uranus, and what that means is that although there is this intensity, you are going to be supported to accept and surrender to a greater order and direction. So, again, the stuff is up, and just be aware of that. And if you can avoid people and situations that you know you're in conflict with, do that. And stay away from conflict as much as you can right now so that you don't get pulled into a trauma that you really don't need to be in. All of what's going on right now in this last quarter of the 2020 transit is still a preparation for what needs to happen in 2021. So sit back, relax, eat some popcorn, bug out on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and wait. I can't stress that enough. And in my video, I will put links to all this astrological references that I made if you want to read a little further and understand a little deeper. All right. Now, with the time remaining, I am going to focus on, and here's my overview. Number 1, on being a light worker. Then on your spiritual essence and what that is about. And then, of course, I'm going to give you some contemplative questions. So my quote for this week, and it will be for every week this month, is from James Redfield, the author of The Celestine Prophecy. And that was clearly a book that helped to change my life, awaken me, and open me more to being accepting of my spiritual path and essence. And so James said, you cannot force spirituality. People must discover it for themselves. We know that life is really about a spiritual unfolding that is personal and enchanting, an unfolding that no science or philosophy or religion has yet fully clarified. Yes, I love that quote. So this month, I'm focusing on being the light. helping you show up to be the light, because there's been so much fear, so much negativity that we have been living through for a very, very long period, several years. And I think we've gotten numb to it. We are starting to believe that this is the way the world works. This is the way the universe works. And the reality is no, 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 no. We're just having what I call a dark age. So to come up out of that dark age, we needed a renaissance period. And that's what I talked about last month, that inner renaissance. And so part of why you're doing your inner renaissance is because you want to be able to be more grounded, more awake, and more able to grow your capacity to be a worker of the light. Because here's the cosmic truth, folks. Love is the most powerful energy in the universe, even more powerful than a neutron star explosion or supernova or a quasar. Like, yeah, it's more powerful than that. And the light always, always diminishes the dark. The sun is always shining. The dark is what is temporal and it's passing. It's the sun that's always shining. So when we forget that we are really here to be light workers. Now, there was a time when this term was so new that if I Googled it, I probably wouldn't find anything. You know, it would come back to me like, why are you putting together light and worker? This doesn't make any sense. And so I'd have to go into those esoteric books to get a definition. But guess what? Now I can go on Google and bam, you get all this information about what it means to be a light worker. So I think it's become more common now. So what I've done is extract it from a piece that I read to give you kind of an overall understanding of what it means to be a light worker, and the understanding that all of us can do this. It used to be that it's just the indigo children or those of you who are seeing things that aren't there, you know, but no, that's not true, because here's what it is about basically. A light worker is anyone who devotes their life to being a bright light in the world. They understand that their actions, no matter how big or small, have the potential to raise the vibration of the planet. Yeah. Next, a light worker soul is awake, conscious, and that their presence matters. Yes, and that they are part of something that is bigger than themselves. So they're very humble. You're very humble when you're identifying as a light worker. Next, light workers are not just tie-dyeing wearing hippies and healers with dreads. Far from it. They are teachers and chefs, writers and singers, producers and cleaners and mothers and mediums. They're at the country club and at the nightclub, in the cafe and crochet and the boardroom and the art room. I just love that because that is the truth. You know, all of us are here to be light workers in whatever field, whatever posture, whatever situation we find ourselves in. Some of the greatest light workers are up in the prisons. Yeah. And some of them have life sentences, but they're some of the biggest light workers that you can ever meet. Next, a light worker is someone who makes a conscious decision to endeavor to answer the call of source, also called light, over the call of ego, also called fear. And I translate that into a light worker is someone who is committed to always choosing love over fear. Yeah. So there's no excuse to not be a light worker. We do have to accept now that we're at a tipping point in our existence as human beings, that we can actually create a world that is more loving than not. And is there always going to be something opposing the light? Oh yeah, I mean, again, right? Night falls, you know, the sun, we turn away from the sun for, you know, what is it, like 12 hours? I think it's about 12 hours. So for 12 hours every day, we kind of turn away from the sun, but we come back. And that's the most important thing to remember. So I want to, in this work this month, just help you really have a basic understanding that you can take and apply to your daily living. Because when we can step into accepting some of these spiritual truths, some of these cosmic truths, it really can make a difference in terms of how we experience the world, experience relationships, and most important, how we get to our happy endings in life. Yeah. So your spiritual essence, really, really important. Really important that although there is such a focus on the physical, we see it in terms of, young bodies, lean bodies, muscle-bound bodies is like the most important thing that you can do as a human being, right? Got to be tight and firm. Even if you're aging, don't age. Here, do this so that you don't have any wrinkles or bulges, or get rid of that gray hair. So we are so attached to the physical in this lifetime, in this culture, that we're forgetting that we're basically spiritual beings. Yeah. And that the physical is temporal. It will not last. But our spirits are eternal. So here's some things to think about that really prove that you're a spiritual being. And by the way, there's some science around this, which is really interesting. We've come this far. The science is involved. I'm not going to give you all the science because there's neuroscience and people that study, consciousness and stuff. But here's some basic stuff that helps me. So the first one is that all of the world's religions provide testimonies to the existence of a world, a dimension beyond this physical plane. And that's why we say when somebody dies at a funeral in the Christian religion, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, meaning that this is where you came out of and this is what you're returning to. So again, that's where we get a basic understanding about the fact that we have a spiritual existence, that we came from something and we're going back to that. A next one is planetary scientists have evidence that we literally come from the stars, the essential atoms and minerals for the existence of life were born out of a supernova event from a dying star. And the Big Bang Theory, humans still don't know how we came into existence, because what was before the Big Bang? What made the Big Bang, right? They don't know that. They don't know that. So the other thing to think about is that before you were a zygote in your mama's womb, you were an invisible impulse that conjoined a sperm to an egg. And if you know anything about human sexuality, the meeting of the sperm and the egg, and for the sperm to get into the egg, that's pretty hard to do. That's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. But how does that happen? Where does it come from? Who's in charge of that? Well, who's making that happen? Because the one thing we can't make, of all the things we can make with technology, is we can't make a human being. No, not at all. And then lastly, the experience of synchronicities, conscious manifestations, dreams fulfilled, or miraculous occurrences. That offers a personal proof that you are so much more than your physical self. Yeah. So think about that. If I have a consciousness that I am more than my physical body, that there's something more going on, what does that mean in terms of who I am? Yeah. So here's the contemplative questions for this week. Number 1, what is your most memorable experience of your spiritual reality? What is your most memorable experience of your spiritual reality? Number 2, when you remember this experience, how does it make you feel? Yeah. How does it make you feel? And last but not least, what has the experience taught or reminded you about the truth of who you are? Yeah. Wonderful. So this personal challenge will be listed in the YouTube video comment description box, not the comments, in the description box. And I also will put it on my Wisdom Walk radio page. And if you haven't already, I ask and invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell for all postings. And for this, I am most humbly grateful. So I'm closing out tonight with a big shout out and thank you to my wonderful engineer, Miss Yvette Parker, and the whole Black Hole Radio Be Well family for continuing to make sure I have platform every Sunday to be here talking this stuff with you. I want to do a shout out to all my regular listeners, especially my #1 fan, Ms. Sarah, who believes in and shares her spiritual essence and light with all whom she meets. And to all of you who have wisdom walk with me and you know who you are, to my family, my spiritual kin, my transformational leadership colleagues, and my medicine brothers and sisters from all around the world, and those who may be listening or watching for the first time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't do this work without your support. Now, next week, I'll continue my October theme of Show Up and Be the Light with You Are an Energetic Being. Yeah, we'll talk about the energy piece. I love it, love it. The book, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, Ancient Wisdom for Transforming Pain, available at Amazon, also on Kindle, Barnes & Nobles, even at Walmart the last time I looked. And I am working on an audio version. Hope to have that out to you early next year. And last but not least, I want to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides, my loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important work with and for all of you. Please have a very healthy and happy Fire Week. Now, continue to wear your mask, practice social distancing and safe relating, avoid perceived safety, and embrace science safety. And most importantly, do remember, you are a spiritual being and you are not disposable because you are divine. Good night now.